Hello and welcome to Money Markets and More with me, Dominic Frisby. And today we look at the largest movement of wealth in history. And we start with a quote by Winston Churchill. "The only thing that really frightened me during the war was the U-boat peril." Now that France had fallen, it was time for Operation Sea Lion, Germany's invasion of Britain. It would start with air and naval attacks to soften British defences before an amphibious assault. The Battle of Britain was about to begin. Britain had 501 tonnes of gold stored overseas, more than half of which was in Canada, over 10,000 bars. Head of the Bank of England, Montague Norman, had been buying Canadian mine production steadily through the 1930s. But in the vaults of the Bank of England itself, it had 1,100 tonnes of gold stored, along with another 800 tonnes stored for other nations. They could not let Adolf Hitler have it, and safety lay on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. But German U-boats were hunting, and over the course of the war they would sink thousands of Allied ships. History was not reassuring either. The SS Laurentic had been sunk in 1917 with some 39 or 40 tonnes lost to the bottom of the ocean just off the coast of Ireland. But beyond keeping the gold from Hitler, Britain needed weapons, food, and other war essentials. America's strictly enforced Neutrality Act meant Britain had to pay for it in gold or US dollars. In 1940, the British people were forced to register any securities, bonds, stock certificates they owned, and the Churchill government, with its newfound wartime powers, then confiscated them, and, wishing to ship Britain's wealth to safety in Canada, secretly moved them, along with several hundred tonnes of gold, to the Scottish port of Greenock. Take note, your wealth is not safe if your country goes to war. And from there, in June 1940, they were shipped to Halifax aboard the light cruiser HMS Emerald, and HMS Emerald made it. The British treasure was put on trains, and the gold was sent to Ottawa, and the securities were shipped to Montreal. And the Bank of Canada was acting as a sort of surrogate Bank of England. But the following month, July 1940, saw the big gamble. 1,500 tonnes of gold. A tonne of gold would be about the size of a medium-sized suitcase. They were loaded onto 5 ships, $163 billion worth in today's money. And offshore they met with the battleship HMS Revenge, 3 destroyers, a cruiser, which served as their escort across the Atlantic, a flotilla of 9 under the command of Admiral Ernest Archer. En route, 2 ships encountered fog and came to a halt for fear of icebergs. Another had engine trouble and had to drop out of the convoy to be escorted by HMS Bonaventure. But somehow the mission was a success. Not a single bar went missing, and it was the largest treasure shipment in history, either by land or sea. At one point it was thought that 3 cases were missing, but a mess steward who overheard a conversation between officers said he'd been tripping over something in the kitchen, and their 3 boxes had been stored amongst the whiskey. Most of that gold was spent buying weapons and other essentials from the US and never made it back to the UK. If ever there was a metaphor for Britain's wealth, it is that. Perhaps they needn't have bothered. Over the next months, to the surprise of many, the Royal Air Force successfully defended British airspace against the German Luftwaffe. And victory in the Battle of Britain would be a turning point in the war. And in September 1940, Hitler shelved Operation Sea Lion and his plans to invade Britain. He had other battles to fight. Stories like this fill the pages of The Secret History of Gold, my new book, although that one didn't actually make the cut. Then The Secret History of Gold is available to pre-order at Amazon, Waterstones, all good bookshops. I hear the audiobook read by me is excellent, and the book comes out on August the 28th. So pre-order yours now. And if you do so, you're doing me a great favour because it all combines to the first week and it gets me up the bestseller rankings. Amazon's currently offering a discount, 20% off. I should also say, if you're planning to buy gold and silver itself to protect yourself in these interesting times, and I urge you to, if you don't already own some, the bullion dealer I recommend is the Pure Gold Company. Quality of service is high. They deliver to the UK, the US, Canada, or Europe, or you can store your gold with them. And I will put a link to them, as well as all the other links, in the description. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. Please buy my book. I'll be back with another video very soon. Until then, goodbye. Go gold!